Before he was a Hollywood star, before medals gleamed on his chest, Audie Murphy was just a Texas farm boy. But in the face of impossible odds, he became the most decorated U.S. soldier of World War II, single-handedly holding off an entire company of German soldiers from the burning hull of a tank destroyer. This is the unbelievable true story of a man who defied death again and again, and lived to tell the tale. Audie Leon Murphy was born on June 20, 1925, near Kingston, Texas. He grew up during the Great Depression, the seventh of 12 children in a family that knew hunger more intimately than comfort. His father abandoned the family, and his mother passed away when Audie was just a teenager. By age 16, Murphy had dropped out of school to help support his siblings, picking cotton and taking any odd job he could find. He was small, barely 5 feet 5 inches and just over 110 pounds, but beneath the wiry frame was an iron will forged by hardship. When the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor in 1941, 16-year-old Murphy tried to enlist. The military turned him away for being underage. Undeterred, he falsified his age, and in June 1942, just days after his 17th birthday, the U.S. Army accepted him. No one could have guessed this skinny Texan would become a legend. Murphy went through basic training at Camp Walters in Texas and then advanced infantry training at Fort Meade, Maryland. Despite his size, he quickly earned a reputation for his marksmanship, discipline, and fearlessness. He was deployed to North Africa in 1943 and then to Sicily, where his baptism by fire would come. In Sicily and later Italy, Murphy fought through brutal combat. He proved himself time and again in the infantry. He was wounded by mortar fire, survived ambushes, and watched friends die around him. But what set Murphy apart wasn't just courage, it was an instinct for battle. He had the uncanny ability to remain calm under fire and to make split-second decisions that saved lives. It wasn't long before he caught the attention of superiors. After the grueling Italian campaign, he was promoted and transferred to France with the 3rd Infantry Division. There, in the shattered countryside of Europe, Audie Murphy would cement his place in military history. In August 1944, during Operation Dragoon, the Allied invasion of southern France, Murphy's unit was pushing inland when they encountered German machine gun nests halting their advance. Without hesitation, Murphy charged the enemy position alone, killed multiple soldiers, and turned their own machine gun against them. For his bravery, he earned the Distinguished Service Cross, the second highest military award for valor. But that was only the beginning. Murphy's heroics multiplied across the months that followed. In one engagement, he crawled alone toward a German tank under cover of darkness and disabled it with a grenade. In another, he and his men were ambushed, and Murphy led a counterattack that killed or captured dozens of Germans. He was wounded multiple times but refused evacuation. His name began to circulate in military circles. A kind of mythology was forming around this unassuming, boy-faced soldier who refused to die. Then came January 26, 1945, the day that would define Audie Murphy forever. His unit had taken up defensive positions near Holtzwihr, France. They were badly outnumbered and faced an impending attack from German forces, including infantry and tanks. As enemy fire began to rain down, most of Murphy's unit fell back to more secure positions. But Murphy remained forward, directing artillery fire via radio. Then a German tank destroyer took a direct hit from a shell and burst into flames. Most men would run. Murphy didn't. With bullets whizzing by and the enemy closing in, he climbed on top of the burning tank destroyer, manned its .50 caliber machine gun, and began laying down cover fire, alone. He held his ground for over an hour, repelling wave after wave of German soldiers. Despite being wounded in the leg, he continued to fire until he ran out of ammunition. His bravery allowed his unit to regroup, flank the enemy, and ultimately force them to retreat. When the smoke cleared, the battlefield was littered with bodies, dozens of dead Germans, and one young American still standing. For his actions that day, Murphy was awarded the Medal of Honor, the United States' highest military decoration. But that wasn't all. By the end of the war, he had received 33 medals and decorations, including the Silver Star, twice, the Bronze Star, twice, and the Purple Heart, 3 times. France awarded him the Croix de Guerre, and Belgium honored him with the Belgian Croix de Guerre. He became the most decorated American soldier of World War II. When Murphy returned home, he was hailed as a national hero. Life magazine put him on the cover. Parades were held in his honor. But fame brought its own challenges. Murphy suffered from what we now recognize as PTSD. He had nightmares, struggled with relationships, and at times slept with a pistol under his pillow. Mental wounds the war left behind ran deep. Hollywood soon came calling. Murphy played himself in the 1955 film To Hell and Back, which was based on his best-selling autobiography of the same name. The movie became one of Universal Studios' highest-grossing films for 20 years. Murphy appeared in more than 40 films over his career, becoming a Western star in his own right. But behind the fame and fortune, Murphy remained humble. He spoke out about the struggles of veterans, especially those suffering from what he called battle fatigue. He refused to profit from the Medal of Honor and never glamorized the war. To him, his medals belonged as much to the men who didn't come home. He also turned to writing, penning poetry and continuing to speak openly about mental health issues faced by soldiers. In an era when it was considered taboo, Audie Murphy helped bring PTSD into the national conversation. On May 28, 1971, tragedy struck. Murphy was aboard a private plane that crashed into a mountainside near Roanoke, Virginia. He was 45 years old. His body was buried with full military honors at Arlington National Cemetery. To this day, his grave is among the most visited in the cemetery. But Audie Murphy's legacy is more than medals and movies. He was a man who carried unimaginable burdens, who acted with valor when others might have frozen, who stood not for glory but for duty. He was a symbol of courage in its purest form. And perhaps more importantly, he was a voice for those who couldn't speak for themselves, the forgotten soldiers, the broken ones, the ones who never made it back. If you found this story as inspiring as we did, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment about what part of Audie Murphy's story struck you the most, and subscribe to Lore of the Multiverse for more unbelievable true stories of bravery, survival, and the untold legends of history. We post regularly, and every story is one step deeper into the human experience.